What if the Red Keep didn't fall? What if in the final moments of Game of Thrones, the ceiling held just long enough? That's the question we're diving into today. Picture this. King's Landing is a smoking ruin. Daenerys has unleashed dragonfire upon the innocent. And deep beneath the Red Keep, amidst the dust and rubble, Jaime Lannister shields Cersei with his own body. He feels the stones rain down. Here's the world end. But it doesn't. They're trapped, but alive. At dawn, unsullied soldiers, clearing the debris, hear a faint sound. A groan. They dig, expecting only bodies, but instead find two figures, bloodied and battered, but breathing. Jaime and Cersei Lannister, the architects of so much pain, have survived the apocalypse they helped create. Their survival doesn't just change their own fate, it throws the entire endgame of the Seven Kingdoms into chaos. What happens now? Tyrion, Hand of the Queen, is the first to be notified. He rushes to the makeshift prison where his siblings are being held. The reunion is a storm of emotions. He sees Cersei, the woman who tormented him his entire life, now a broken queen without a crown. And Jaime, the brother he once admired, the man who stood by her to the bitter end. For Tyrion, this isn't a victory. It's a crisis of conscience. He advised Daenerys. He trusted her. And now he's staring at the consequences in his own family in chains. Meanwhile, news of their survival spreads like wildfire through the camp of the Northern Army. For Jon Snow, or Aegon Targaryen, this is a political nightmare. He's already reeling from Daenerys' massacre. Now, the two most hated figures in Westeros are his prisoners. The Northern Lords, Sansa Stark included, demand immediate execution. They see it as justice, plain and simple. Cersei blew up the Sept of Baelor. She betrayed the living in the war against the dead. For them, there's no room for mercy. But Jon is conflicted. He looks at Jaime, a man who, like him, has a complicated past. A man who killed a mad king and who rode north to fight for humanity. Can he simply execute him without a trial? And what about Cersei? Executing her, even after everything she's done, feels like another act of brutality in a city already drowning in it. Jon is trapped between his duty to justice and his own moral compass. This is where the political chess match truly begins. Sansa Stark, now the de facto leader of the anti-Targaryen sentiment, sees an opportunity. She argues forcefully that keeping the Lannisters alive is a sign of weakness. She sends a raven to Winterfell, telling her people that the Dragon Queen's justice is flawed and her hand, a Lannister himself, cannot be trusted. She is positioning the North not just for independence, but as the moral authority of the realm. Tyrion, sensing this power play, knows he has to act fast. He goes to Daenerys. He finds her not in a throne room, but alone, staring at the destruction she caused. She's paranoid, isolated. She sees the survival of her enemies as a personal threat, proof that the world is conspiring against her. Tyrion tries to reason with her. He argues that a public fair trial for Cersei and Jaime would establish her as a just ruler, not a tyrant. It would be a way to start healing the realm, to show that her rule is different from the chaos of the past. Daenerys is torn. Part of her wants to burn them and be done with it. It's the Targaryen way. But another part, the part that once wanted to break the wheel, listens to Tyrion. She agrees to a trial, but on her terms. It will be a grand spectacle, a demonstration of her power. She declares that the heads of the great houses will gather in the Dragon Pit to bear witness and pass judgment. This sets the stage for the most high-stakes trial in Westerosi history. From the Vale, the Iron Islands, Dorne, and the North, lords and ladies converge on the ruins of King's Landing. The city is an armed camp, with unsullied Dothraki and Northmen eyeing each other with suspicion. The atmosphere is electric with tension. As the trial begins, Cersei is brought out first. It's defiant, even in rags. She offers no apology, no remorse. She lists her grievances, her losses, her justifications. She paints herself as a mother defending her children, a queen protecting her throne from usurpers. She reminds everyone of the faith militant, of the sparrows, of the enemies at her gates. Her speech is a masterpiece of manipulation, designed to sow discord. She reminds the Dornish of Ilya Martell, but then points to Daenerys, another foreign invader with dragons. She reminds the Vale of their honor, then questions Jon Snow's. Then it's Jaime's turn. He's a changed man. The golden armor is gone, replaced by the weary look of a soldier who has seen too much war. He doesn't defend Cersei's actions. Instead, he speaks of his own. He confesses to pushing Bran Stark from the tower. A gasp ripples through the crowd. He speaks of his oath to protect the royal family, an oath he twisted to serve his love for Cersei. But then he talks about riding north. He talks about Brienne of Tarth, about fighting the army of the dead, about choosing humanity over his own family. He argues that people can change, that honor isn't a fixed point, but a path you walk. His plea is not for his life, but for understanding. He asks the lords of Westeros to build something better than the world of hate and vengeance they've all been living in. The lords are divided. Yara Greyjoy wants vengeance for the Iron Islands. Robin Arryn, prompted by Jon Royce, calls for their heads, but some are moved. Admir Tully remembers Jaime's strange mercy at River Run. Samwell Tarly, ever the scholar, argues for a new kind of justice, one based on rehabilitation, not just retribution. The deciding vote falls, symbolically, to Bran Stark. Now the three-eyed raven, he sees everything. He sees Jaime's entire life, the good and the bad. When asked for his judgment, he says something cryptic. "The lion pushed me from the tower, and I learned to fly." The world needs a kingslayer to remind it of the cost of tyranny. But it also needs a new story. He doesn't call for death. He proposes exile, banishment to the wall, what's left of it, for Jaime to join the Night's Watch. For Cersei, a life of silent solitude and the Silent Sisters. This verdict infuriates Daenerys. It's not the decisive, fiery justice she wanted. She sees it as a challenge to her authority. In that moment, her paranoia boils over. She accuses Tyrion of orchestrating this to save his family. She sentences him to death for treason. This is the breaking point for Jon Snow. He sees the woman he loves about to execute her most loyal advisor, repeating the sins of her father. He knows he has to act. The final confrontation isn't about the Iron Throne anymore. It's about the soul of the realm. It's the unsullied move to seize Tyrion. Jon draws Longclaw. The Northmen draw their swords. Standoff in the Dragon Pit. The civil war that was simmering now explodes. It's not Lannister versus Stark or Targaryen anymore. It's a war of ideals. On one side, Daenerys and her belief in absolute power, fire and blood. On the other, Jon, Sansa, Tyrion, and an unlikely coalition arguing for a new way, system of justice, mercy, and shared governance. The survival of Jaime and Cersei didn't save the Lannister dynasty. It did something far more important. It forced every character to confront their own beliefs. It stripped away the easy answers and revealed the true conflict at the heart of the story. Not who sits on the Iron Throne, but how they should rule. The lion's last unexpected roar forces Westeros to finally decide if it will break the wheel or be crushed by it one last time. So what do you think would have happened? Would Jon have been able to stop Daenerys? Could a trial like this ever have worked in Westeros? Let me know your theories in the comments below. That is a fascinating what-if that changes everything we thought we knew about the end of the game. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more alternate endings. We'll see you in the next one.